Good morning, British literature students, and welcome to the fifth week of our spring 2016 semester. All right, so this is the week we're going to close out Romanticism. We're going to close it out by reading two late poets of the Romantic era, Lord Byron and Percy Shelley. Now, these two men were very close friends. Percy Shelley, very famously, would end up marrying Mary Wollstonecraft's daughter, Mary Shelley, hence why she has the name Shelley. Mary Shelley is probably most well known for writing Frankenstein, but she was also the daughter of Mary Wollstonecraft and the wife of Percy Shelley. And then, of course, Lord Byron was a good friend of theirs. And Lord Byron, if you're really interested in him, had a very, very colorful life. Now, just like John Keats that we read last week, both these men would end up dying young. Byron would end up dying in Italy while fighting in a war, and Percy Shelley would end up dying in a tragic boat accident. So, like Keats, these men died way too young, but they also had very, very proficient output of literary writings. So that's highly important to remember as well. All right. Now, what do we want to look at? We want to look at some of the differences. For example, when we read Byron, he also, when we read Don Juan, and notice you don't have to read all of the Don Juan that's in our book, only Canto 2. That should be enough to give you an idea of what his combination of romance, and in this case romance does mean love story, with adventure story brings about. Because there's no love or romance whatsoever in Coleridge's Rhyme in Ancient Mariner. But there is plenty of it in Don Juan. In fact, Don Juan was well known, and still is to a certain extent, as a great lover. He also wrote She Walks in Beauty, which is a very short poem. He was inspired by his cousin Anne Wilmot. Saw her at a funeral, of all things, and she was dressed all in black with some glittery stuff on her dress, and she was breathtaking, and so he wrote a story about how she's not only beautiful on the outside, but she's also pure on the inside, which is very unusual for Lord Byron. Lord Byron kind of liked the bad girls, but his cousin is an exception to the rule. So look at that, and then look at Percy Shelley's Mont Blanc. Just like Wordsworth would make the argument that nature is loving and it provides us with everything we need in this world, and life comes from nature, and nature will take care of us like Mother Nature. Percy Shelley didn't have that attitude. In fact, Percy Shelley was an atheist and very much proud of the fact that he was an atheist. And he paints nature in a much more brutal fashion. Nature is something that has power, and it's something that has force, and it's something that doesn't really take care of men. It just is. And men adapt to nature rather than nature adapting to men. So that's something to think about when you read Mont Blanc. Mont Blanc is also about the creative writing process. So think about that as you read it as well. All the musings he has about creative writing. They're a little bit different than what Wordsworth had in What is a Poet in the preface to Lyrical Ballads. Then we've got the exam. So my suggestion is get familiar with the Shelley and Byron selections, just like you did with the other selections. Maybe do your posting first, and then take the exam. The exam is all multiple choice and true false. You'll know your score once you get done. I've arranged it so that once you get done, you'll know what your score is right away. I have attached to an email, and some of you may have read the email before you watched the video, and that's perfectly fine. But I've attached to an email a study guide for this first exam. Now, unlike the postings where I kind of give you a couple of weeks, even though I really shouldn't, the exam only has a 1 week window, and that's it. So from the moment that you watch this video, hopefully on Monday, February the 1st, until right about at midnight on the night of Sunday, February the 7th, leading into February the 8th, that is your window. So 11:59 p.m., February the 7th, the exam will shut down. I will not take any excuse for being late. Anybody that hasn't taken it will get a 0. Unless you have documented reasons, such as being under a doctor's care or being serving in the military because Uncle Sam called you to duty or something like that. Then those are going to be things that we can work around, and I can set it up for you. So look at that study sheet. Go back through the PowerPoints. Go back through your discussion posting. Maybe read other people's discussion postings. Whatever you have to do to prepare for this exam, make sure that you do it and you do it in a timely fashion. And you should do well. Most students on these exams do very well. And the study guide will tell you what's going to be in the exam and how to prepare for it. So that's it. That's what I've got for this week. So let's finish this romanticism up strong. Let's do well on the exam. And then we'll be ready to move into the Victorian period next week. And again, as always, you can email me. And if I can answer your question in email, I will. Or you can call me on my phone during office hours. Or if you happen to be in Albany or on campus, you can always feel free to drop by and to my office, either to say hi or to say, Mr. Smith, I need help on something that I don't understand very well. So on that note, have a great week and keep in touch.